Morven and Chris here from Bridges Properties. We have recently just launched Bridges Property Management, which is a super exciting time for the business. So just wanted to get a catch up with Chris and share where we're at. So let's get into it. Chris, lettings is in full swing now. So how are you feeling about things? How's it going?
Really good, actually. Aye, obviously very early stages at the minute, but it's the response to what we've put out so far and the conversations that we've had with various different landlords has been really, really positive. So, long overdue, I would say. It's been in the pipeline for a long time. We've spoke about lettings for well, we must have been speaking about it since you've joined, definitely.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah. Aye, so it's but it's definitely the timing feels right, and it's really exciting actually. Aye.
It's a really exciting time for the business, and I think, like you said, it's always kind of been in the plans, probably quite unexpected in terms of timing, but like you said, definitely felt like the right time when it came through. So tell me a bit more about the purpose behind why lettings, why now?
Well, there's kind of, I suppose, a selfish perspective, which is why it works for the business. And what that brings for the business is, well, for me, we're speaking to landlords all day, every day. And it's been a real frustration that we've not been able to help landlords up till this point. Well, we've been able to help them buy properties and sell. We've sold multiple portfolios and stuff like that for landlords. So we've helped them in that way. But I think that it makes so much sense because time and time again, I've heard so much negative feedback from landlords about the letting agent.
Yeah.
I know there's great letting agents out there. It's the same as any industry. You've got the good, the bad, and the indifferent. But I think the general standard is really, really poor. And I'd make no mistake of saying that it is. But that's been the constant feedback that I've had. And for me, that's something, it's actually the same feeling that I got when I started the estate agency. It's exactly the same feeling this time round with the letting side of things as well. And that really excites me, to be honest with you, because we've built this business based on relationships with people, communication. When I think about, the pain points in any process, especially with property, it's generally communication.
Yeah.
So whether you're selling a property or whether it's a longer term relationship with, having your property let out and managed by a letting agency, communication's just paramount to everything.
Yeah.
And I think that we've always made sure that we're not a transactional business, and that will absolutely be the same for the letting agency. And I'm excited about that longer term relationship with a client. We're usually with a client for a few months, and we keep in touch with people after that. But to have manage someone's property for hopefully a long time or multiple properties for them really excites me. So that's the kind of selfish perspective. From a landlord's perspective, I think what makes sense for them to use us is we've proven we can do it. We've got so many relationships with these landlords already that they know us, they trust us, they see how we do things in here. Bridges is different to every other estate agency and letting agency that I've ever came across. So we want to really make it an enjoyable process. I don't think that a landlord should have to put up with not liking their letting agency.
Yeah, totally. And you always talk about, I guess, pretty much in everything you do, and you've absolutely instilled that in me, is that, you want to make sure that you solve a problem, not just doing it for the sake of doing it or because, it sounds like a great idea, especially starting up an estate agency. Starting up any business is tough, but doing it without a real purpose, I guess, defeats the point. And I always have loved that, the sort of mindset that you've had on that. So what's the problem that you're hoping to solve, or that you're going to solve with Bridges Property Management?
Well, I think that I'm not in business for it to be boring. I would rather go and do something else than for me, I want to create something really, really special. Not just really special for me and for the team in here, but also for the people that are working with us, i.e. landlords, i.e. sellers and buyers. But specifically for landlords, for me, the biggest problem I want to solve is to be a letting agency for the landlords. Built for the landlords in mind, and built for, this is their business. For a lot of these landlords are professional landlords. Just like Bridges properties is my baby and my business. For a lot of these landlords, that's their baby and their business. Totally. And for me, that gets totally overlooked. 100%. And that's a real shame, and I don't understand why that needs to be like that. I've said this as well from when I first joined, when I was a self-employed estate agent. I'll never forget it. I was told to kind of go into sales, which is what I wanted to do. And I was told at that point, it was almost like lettings was treated like the ugly sister. That's what it was like. And it was like, oh, so-and-so looks after that. Don't worry about that. Like, that's an absolute headache. Like, don't go there. And I maybe naively just thought, okay. And there's bigger fees involved with selling houses and stuff like that. So I can see why it's the more attractive route to go down. But I think that's exactly the problem that I want to solve, is that's totally gets squashed. And for me, it's such a, landlords have obviously are feeling the effects of, various different things that the government have brought in, a lot more favourable for tenants and things like that as well. So they're already feeling that. But for us, we can be that middle ground between the tenant and the landlord and really look after the landlord, processes really slick, communication great, and I'm not saying it's ever going to be perfect, nothing ever is, but for us just really making that process a bit more enjoyable is definitely the biggest thing for us.
Nice. You spoke a lot about landlords there, but there's big plans to make sure that we can also look after and help support tenants as well. So how do you plan on doing that?
That's a massive thing for me. Again, I'm kind of trying not. I was trying not to say this here, but I'll not name any names or anything like that. But I've heard of so many horror stories with tenants using letting agencies. There's some that they don't even want the tenants to come into their premises. They make them pick keys up from locked boxes and stuff like that. It's just, honestly, it totally goes against everything I believe in. For me, that is just as important as the landlord relationship as that tenant relationship. Just making that process. For me, it doesn't matter if you're going to rent your first home or you're going to buy your first home. Like, that's, for most people, a really, really special experience. 100%. That can't be overlooked. And for me, we spoke to, there was a member of our team had spoke about the process when they had rented their first property and just how poor that was and everything like that. And one of the things that we brought up, for example, was just a very small thing, is that if somebody buys a property here and they come in, they get their photograph taken, they get a goodie bag, and they get made to feel really special, it's going to be exactly the same for tenants. Totally. Exactly the same. It's just as important to them. And for me, that sets that relationship off really well. They should get to know us by name, and they should get to know the people that are in this business. And for us, that we're still a letting agent at the end of the day. We still need to look after the landlord. Of course we do. That's who's paying us at the end of the day. But for me, that tenant relationship is absolutely paramount to all of this. And we are the people in the middle. We need to make the landlord's life easier, because that's why they're paying us to do a job for them, to take that off their hands. They're busy people, and they can use that time to, do other stuff, more time with family or more time in any other business ventures or whatever that might be. But equally as important for that tenant relationship as well.
What is it they say? Happy tenant, happy landlord. So love it. I guess my last question would be, and probably the most interesting one, and also for me the most exciting one, is what have you learned from Bridges Properties, the good, bad and indifferent, and what will you take into Bridges Property Management?
I am so glad you've asked that, because I've had so many funny responses to saying that I've started lettings, just from people, I suppose, just building their own perception of things. But people have been like, oh, lettings, it's a nightmare, and you need to make sure that you're communicating well with people, and have you got things lined up for the maintenance of properties? Like, we know fine well what we're getting into. I've been around letting agents for a long time and networks with them a lot. I've met so many of them, and I've also been around landlords and understand the issues that arise for that. So what I've learned massively is communication is key. The communication piece can't be overlooked again. It's massive. It really, really is. If you're communicating well with people, but also one of the other biggest things that I've learned through the estate agency side and Bridges Properties is your processes and systems. They need to be absolutely nailed on, because that makes sure that everything runs in a kind of uniform way, and the communication's the same, and the process is the same through every transaction, but you're also flexible in the sense that things come up in a estate agency every day that you've never came across, and it'll be the same for lettings as well. So none of that's going to shock me or surprise me. I never just woke up yesterday and thought, let's go and start a letting agency. As I say, this has been in the pipeline for a long time, and I'm really excited. Last bit I suppose for me to say as well is that kind of landlord experience, we've got so many things, and I'm probably giving away a lot of secrets here, but so be it. We are really wanting to maximise a part of the renovation works that we've done in here, for example, is to host more events, to really get landlords networking, sharing best practices, getting a bit of advice. I know when I go and speak to other business owners, it's almost like therapy, because they understand all your troubles and all the things that you're going through. I want to create that same atmosphere. Properties that are going up for sale that maybe can't make it to the market, offering those opportunities to landlords. A landlord wants to sell their portfolio, give that opportunity to the landlords that we've got. All those sort of things are really important to me. And another thing that I wanted to say as well on that was that for me, I want to put my money where my mouth is. I'm also going to start investing in property myself, which is something that I've always wanted to do, to be honest. It's just I've always, my focus has always been obviously on building the business, and I've not had another second to think about anything else. And I think a lot of people think I've got investment in property. I've had many people assuming that over the years as well. But for me, if I'm going to build a letting agency for landlords, I think becoming a landlord myself makes so much sense, and I can be that person that, for me, that then gives me insight and real skin in the game to see, what are the pain points, and feel that firsthand so that I can make the experience better for other landlords as well.
Love that. I know you're obviously kind of heading it all up and leading from the front, which is exciting, and we're all excited to see you do it all over again. But the full team are behind you, and we're all so excited to be part of this journey. So let's do this.
Brilliant. Thank you. Let's go.